Alright, so today I'm going to do something a little bit different, right? So I've got the microphone and the boom stand because I don't want my little lavalier mic to get brushed on and scraping my beard or my jumper, and you can't really hear me. Um, but I went ahead and did all this before I did this video because I don't I'm trying to be respectful of your time. So if I did this while I recorded this with you and we did it together, then we'd be here for 3-4 hours, and I don't want to waste your time, right? So I'm trying something different. I've put everything up here already. I've drawn everything. This is my document called The Garden of Mind. I'm also wearing my little gardening hat because we're the conscious gardener of mind, right? So I am my own conscious gardener, and the whole point of this document is to remind you that you are the conscious gardener of your own mind, and there's a framework which I'm going to show you, and it's going to teach you how to be the conscious gardener of mind. Not because you need to learn how to do it. You already know. You're already doing it. Okay? You already know how to manifest. You're already being the conscious gardener of your own mind. This is your fertile mind. Now, you're you just may be manifesting or planting seeds. If we're going to continue with the gardening example, you just may be planting seeds that you didn't you don't want to experience. So, for example, you may be planting cucumbers without realizing, just planting cucumbers unconsciously, although you don't want to eat cucumbers, you don't want to harvest cucumbers. Or people from your external world may have planted cucumbers for you, right? And because you were unconsciously gardening this fertile soil of mind, you weren't aware that they were there. So you've just had cucumbers growing in your garden, and all of a sudden you had to experience them, and you're like, well, fuck, well, where'd they come from? I didn't plant them. I don't even like tomato. I don't even like cucumbers. See what I'm saying? So if you want cucumbers, plant cucumbers. Now, so this document is called The Garden of Mind. Okay, I'm going to put it up on the screen here. This is the top view, your garden of mind. So if you look at this, okay, this right here is your garden, okay? Now, you've got all these little sections here that you've created space. So this is space held for these things, right? So for example, cauliflower, broccoli, cucumbers, tomatoes, whatever you want, basil, whatever you want, right? Or whatever has been planted in there already, okay? Whether you did it unconsciously or whether someone else did it, whether it's still there from a parent or a teacher from your life, it's irrelevant, okay? It doesn't matter. But the point is, you've created space. This is your Garden of Eden, okay? Now, you have a tap here, a hose reel, water. You have a neighbor here who, the garden here, their grass looks amazing, looks perfect, right? Now, you may be tempted to look over here. You may be tempted to wonder what they're doing with their grass. You may be tempted to ask them questions, right? You may be tempted to go and help them and water their grass for them, okay? But it's not your job to water their grass. And it's not your job to water their grass. So this neighbor over here has a bit of a patchy lawn, okay? So when you think about your material world, you don't take your hose reel and you take the hose and then you walk next door and then water their garden, right? You don't water their plants, you don't water their grass, their patchy lawn. You don't do that because you're paying for this water, right? But when we think about our lives, we're literally doing this with almost everyone in our lives, where we're taking our own hose reel and going to try and water someone else's lawn. Now, they're going to allow you to because they're not paying for the water, right? It's easy for them. It's beautiful. It's for free, okay? Which means they also don't have to do anything, okay? But we're also then taking the attention away from our own garden. All we need to do is focus on our own garden, okay? Plant what you want to experience. Be the conscious gardener of mind. So this is the side view, okay? So this is the fertile soil of mind. Some of them are sprouting. Some of them have sprouted, right? Some of them are still little seeds. These are all seeds of desire, okay? They're all seeds. Not all of them are seeds that you desire, okay? Now, Habakkuk 2 verse 3. The vision has its own appointed hour. It ripens, it will flower. If it be long, then wait, for it is sure and it will not be late. Okay? So we look at these seeds and we haven't that they haven't sprouted yet, and we wonder, well, fuck, where is it? Where is it? That's none of your business. Don't worry about it. You planted the seed, let it go. Focus on these ones. These are ready to harvest. Focus on the ones that are coming. But more importantly, while these are ready to go, you harvest them. So when we look at the garden, yes, we created space for these. This is space held for these plants, herbs, spices, whatever it is. But if they were growing, and let's say this is cucumber, and this is tomato, then harvest the cucumbers and tomatoes. Don't worry about trying to harvest the mustard seeds. You know what I'm trying to say? Don't worry about trying to harvest the pumpkin seeds. But we continue to focus on the ones that we don't have. And this is why people continue to say, be grateful for what you have. Yeah, it's not about like denying what you want. Yeah, this is all what you want. These are seeds of desire, okay? You want them. You've planted those seeds for a reason. Esther Hicks will call this rockets of desire. You've launched that rocket of desire. There's nothing else for you to do. There's nothing that you can do to help that seed grow. Now you have to leave it to nature. You have to let it go, right? Now, the paradox is there are things that you can do, okay? We're going to talk about it. So, this is what the soil is. The soil is the bride, Mother Earth, the natural, material world. It is the heart, the female, the woman, the womb man, the room of man, the tomb of man, the mother, the harlot that is spoken of in scripture. Not that your mother is the harlot, not that all females are the harlot, but it is the harlot, right? It is the prostitute that will lay with any man and give birth to any seed. Because I can plant a seed of tomatoes in Sydney, and someone can plant a seed of tomatoes in China, and the soil must give birth to that life. It's unconditional. The soil is unconditional. Okay? Yes, we may condition the soil to suit our desires, but the soil is unconditional. So whatever we plant inside it, here, it must bring it to pass. Okay? So, it's the unconscious. Some people call this the subconscious. I know Neville said it a couple times too, subconscious. Joseph Murphy says subconscious all the time as well, right? Joe Dispenza says it as well, right? Now, it's also the body. The body is the unconscious, right? Now, Chet. This is the 8th letter of the Hebrew Aleph Bet. Aleph Bet, if you don't already know, just means alphabet. That's where we got the word alphabet from. Aleph Bet, which is the Hebrew alphabet, means father, son. So Aleph is the first letter, Bet is the second letter, literally meaning father, son. So in the Hebrew Aleph Bet, the 8th letter is Chet. Why am I saying that? Because Chet is the inner room. Okay? That which you separate from. So you're in the womb of Mother Earth. You're in the womb man, because woman is womb man, the room of man, the tomb of man. It is the inner room. Now, it's also talking about this skull, the inner room, okay? Not just the female inner room. Now, preparing the soil, okay? Awareness. We need to identify, and discern what we want in this soil. We need to identify so as a gardener, if you don't mark the area that you've planted, you have to wait. If you're not like keeping track of like what you planted and where you planted it, you have to wait until it's ready to harvest. That's carrot. I forgot. Because we forget what we planted, right? So if we're not keeping track of what we're planting in our mind, in our fertile soil of mind, and we're not keeping track, which we'll get to, if we're not keeping track of what other people are trying to plant into our fertile soil of mind, then we will have to wait. We have no choice but to wait until it's ready to harvest to notice, oh shit, that's a reason for me to be guilty. I didn't plant that in there. My mum planted that in my heart, in my mind when I was a child, and she made up some story about some child that's starving in Africa to make me feel guilty about not eating my potatoes. So how will this guilt trip now help my appetite? And if there's children starving in Africa, then why am I eating anything? You're making me feel guilty for eating, right? So should I stop eating? You're trying to like use that story to like get me to eat, but like it's kind of contradictory, no? And obviously they don't talk about the adults starving in Africa because that won't resonate with their child, okay? But anyway, the point is the soil. We have to clear the limiting beliefs. So you may have to uproot some stuff. You may have to remove some rocks or roots, things like that, okay? Just maybe things that like just from the winds of the earth have been brought there. Maybe your pet brought it there. Maybe your mum left it there. Maybe your dad, your sibling, your teachers, right? Maybe your co-workers, your bosses, your partners, whatever it is. They've put shit into this soil and you have to clear space. You have to clear this soil so that your desires have room to grow. Now, you must recognize the patterns, which are the weeds. So this is why you have to look at your garden. You have to be aware. You have to be conscious and aware of what's happening in your garden. Did I plant that? Do I know what that is? Who planted that? Where did that come from? What is that? Is this helping my garden or harming my garden? So you have to be conscious and aware. You have to stay on guard, right? You have to discern whether it's appropriate or inappropriate for your garden, because not everything is going to work well together. It's not always the case. Okay, you may have to have separate garden beds to grow separate different things, and I'll get to it, right? So number 2 is the seed, which is the male, imagination. So imagination, seed, plants a seed into her. So he plants seed into her, okay? The man, husband, father, desire, so the seed of desire. Spiritual, God, Aleph, which is the first letter, as I just said, of the Hebrew alphabet, which means the father, leader, and ox. which has the gematria value of 1 or 1,000, which means the strength of an ox or the strength of 1,000 men, because this means the father, leader, ox, aleph, means also strength. So that's where the 1 or 1,000 comes from, the strength of an ox or the strength of 1,000 men. And if you look at the A upside down, it's actually an ox head, right? That's where we got the letter A from. They flipped it upside down. That's where we got the letter A from. Okay, that is the ox, the father. Imagination, God. So consciously plant seeds of desire. As a man thinketh, so is he. That's from James Allen. Now, there's another quote here. No one can see my desire unless I plant its seed. So if I want the flower, I must do the deed. That's from some wise guy. And that wise guy was me. Right? Now, number 3, the water. Emotion, which is energy in motion, right? E equals mc squared. So spirit, the water also means spirit, mighty spirit of God, semen, it's euphemism for semen, right? Life, rising up, flowing, feeling. Okay. It's also like, you can also say that it's the water is used to describe information or knowledge, and then turning the water into wine, wisdom, right? So Mem is the 13th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, which just means the mighty spirit of God, the rising up, the spirit, the flow, the spring, the rising spring. Using feeling, faith, and repetition to nurture the seed. So that's what the water is, right? In this garden of mind, we must use, that's how we water these seeds. We must use the feeling, faith, and repetition, which is just means like you must continue to feed this seed. You must continue to go out there and water your garden, okay, to nurture the seed. Nourish them with gratitude, relief, satisfaction, peace, and accomplishment. So everyone says gratitude, which is great, right? That's amazing. But what's more important is relief. Knowing that it's done. If I planted the seed, no one can see my desire unless I plant its seed. So if I want the flower, I must do the deed. Once I've done the deed, what else is there for me to do? Just continue to nurture it. Just continue to nurture it with this water, right? With the faith and repetition of nourishment with it, with relief, knowing that it's coming. It's there. I planted it. And in the meantime, go back to harvesting whatever else is ready to go. You go back to enjoying these fruits of your labor. Don't worry about these little ones. Let them go. They're not ready to eat. They're not ready to experience yet. So I read a book called Experience It Twice. Now, this is literally talking about how we experience everything twice. First with the inner man, then with the outer man. So I had to experience my coffee this morning in here before I experienced my coffee this morning out here. I had to relieve myself in the bathroom this morning in here before I relieved myself in the bathroom this morning out here. I imagined turning off my alarm in here before I turned off my alarm in the morning out here. So I experienced turning off my alarm before I experienced turning off my alarm. Does that make sense? We're doing everything twice. You're experiencing everything twice. First in here, then out here. So even using the example of a woman and having a child, she had a baby in here before she had a baby in here. So the water, the how, that is the how. The how of that's how we're nourishing this seed and these seeds, okay? The same way that we nourish them. Some of them don't need that much attention, to be honest. It's literally like the garden. It is the Garden of Eden. It is the Garden of Mind. Some things don't need you to do anything. Some seeds don't need you to. Plants, they all have their own unique personality. Some of them want to be indoors. Some of them want sunlight. Some of them want real sunlight. Some of them want just a little bit of shade. Some of them want shade. Some of them want to be watered. Some of them don't like their feet to be wet. So you can't just put water in the bottom of the plate and just let it absorb because they don't like their feet being wet. Some of them love that shit. See what I'm saying? So like your desires are all the same. They have their own little personality. So some you may not need to touch. Some you may need to water a little bit more than the others. I can't tell you which one is which. It's really just you know in your heart. In your heart. And it'll get to a point where whichever desire it is and whatever kind of personality that desire has, you won't feel the need to nourish it anymore. Because there's nothing else you can do. It's done. All right? The only time you go back to nourish it is just if you want to experience it again, and you just because you enjoy it. So you think about it. You're like, oh, wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be? Like it's like the child in the womb. Like you know it's coming, but you're still imagining having like playing with the kid right now, like putting the bike together, teaching them how to ride a bike. It's not that you're like, oh man, hurry up. Fuck. I don't know if it's coming. Like, are you sure? There are no maybe babies. You're either pregnant or you're not. The seed has been planted or it hasn't, okay? So, number 4, before I get to that, why peace is very important. Because you are the Prince of Peace. Okay? So, as you may be aware, I'm sure you've experienced this as well, right? Because we all have. If you're living a human experience, a light manifested experience, you've tossed and turned at night instead of being able to sleep. Why? Because you weren't at peace. Because you weren't at peace. So when you rest in peace, which also we'll get to a little bit later, rest in peace is not a prayer of death. It's a prayer of life. Okay, you must rest in peace throughout the entire journey, not wait till the end when the race is over, the marathon is over, and you're like, thank fuck, I can finally rest in peace. No. Jesus just means savior, and you are your own savior. Jesus is the Prince of Peace, which means if Jesus is the savior and you are your own savior, that means your savior is the Prince of Peace. The Prince of Peace is your savior, which means peace, and resting in peace is your savior. When you're at peace, there's nothing that you need to do. There's nothing that you need to say. Nowhere for you to go. No one for you to talk to. Like this, it's not that you don't do those things. It's that you don't need it. You're at peace because you're whole. So when you do go somewhere, when you do speak to someone, when you do say something, it's not coming from a place of, I need to feel whole. No, you don't need to feel a whole because you cannot feel what is already whole. But we like to think that we're not whole and that we need to collect more and more and more. And it's not a bad thing. That's just what the brain does. Okay? It's an information hungry machine. It's like a hungry hippo. Just on and on and on, wants more information. That's why you may have been going through YouTube video after YouTube video after YouTube video, trying to find the one that works for you. I should have written this down. See how, like, even though I wrote all this down, there are still things that I may or may not forget. Because I'm saying that because I don't remember the exact quote from the Bible, but the quote is it in that book? No, it's in. You know what? No, it's here. It's in Experience It Twice. It's on the first page. So page 12. But be doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. James 1:22. But be doers of the word, not just hearers. Do. You don't need to hear more and more and more and more and search and search and search. So what, where is it? I'll get it, right? So this book here, I wasn't, the plan was to just share what was on the iPad. But anyway, this book here, What is Love? Okay. I'm going to show you, where is it? Okay. Yep. Let's rub the old. All right, so I won't read all of it because. All right. So here on page 38, in the fertile mind, the first seed, I invited you to replace the word answer to self, which means the mind will always want the self to the questions it proposes. We seek ourself outside of us, but could we ever find ourself outside of us? There is a lot of out there somewhere and elsewhere in the questions and answers the world provides. Once we have replaced answer to self and no longer seek ourself outside of us, we know there is something greater. At this point, we can replace the word self to love, which means our journey will feel like 3 different seasons of maturation. Wanting answers, wanting ourself, and finally being something greater than ourselves. That something is unconditional love, which just means when you catch yourself seeking the answer again, replace the word answer with self. So you notice that, I just caught myself seeking myself outside of me again, which you cannot do. And then when you notice that, you realize, oh, shit. Which means if I'm seeking myself outside of me, that means I'm seeking love outside of me. Which means I'm seeking unconditional love outside of me. So let's go back. Number 4, the sun. Awareness, right? The sun, so shining the light like a flashlight. The sun, it brings awareness. The light brings awareness, okay? Focus, shining a light on that which you want to grow. So only focus, be aware of, shine a light on only that which you want to grow. It sounds simple, right? But we don't do it. It's so simple that we deny it because it's so simple. Your attention is the sun, light of creation. So the sun, the light of creation, right? So your attention, so give your attention to only that which serves you. Give your attention to only that which is loving. Give your attention to only that which you want to experience. And once you experience it in here, you will experience it out here. Number 5, the harvest. Embodiment, living from the wish fulfilled. The result, the new state, the new man, living as. How would you react to your world? So, if you are the conscious gardener of mind, which you are, how would you react? And you wanted people to come and visit you and admire your wonderful garden, and you want to serve them tea and biscuits and all this stuff. How would you react to your world? Would you like be hiding from people that are knocking on your door? That's contradictory, right? I thought you wanted people to come over and experience your garden and enjoy this beautiful, magical place that you created. You wouldn't be hiding from people that are knocking on your door. You know what I mean? So, how would your world react to you? Meaning, if you're that same person that wants people to come over and admire your garden and look at your beautiful plants or herbs and spices, vegetables, whatever it is, right? And you want to serve them tea and biscuits and all that stuff. How would your world react to you? So what would they say? How would they feel? What would be the looks on their faces? You know what I mean? Are they bringing their families? Is it like a family event? Do you have a farm that people come and pick cherries? You know? So how would you react to your world from that place as that person? And how would your world react to you from that place and as that person? Now, 6, stay on guard at the gate of mind. This is important, okay? This is you with your sword and shield. This is your brain. You're staying on guard at the gate of mind. All these little arrows are arrows, okay? That have been shot at you, and they say, how is that going to happen? No, yeah, right, can't, when, blah, 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 blah. Yeah? But who are you? Who do you say that I am? I am. So you must stay on guard at the gate of mind as that person and continue to see your world from that perspective. Isn't it wonderful? So you, with your sword and shield, must stay strong on the foundation of faith, okay? On the rock of faith, okay? Solid, unwavering, okay? No matter what is being shot at you with these arrows. I am. And you don't need to say, I am rich. Because then those arrows may be, you may get you may block the sun, the amount of arrows that are being shot at you, right? Because you're saying, I am rich, but you don't believe it, which is why it may block the sun, the amount of arrows that are being shot at you, right? But if you just say, I am, and you stay firm and solid, and you don't have to say it with your mouth, okay? Don't worry about these people on YouTube, or these people on the internet, on TikTok and Instagram, all this bullshit. You don't have to say it, because that would be a conditional love. Let's get this out of the way, please. That would be a conditional love. So you're saying God, unconditional love, is conditioning his love to people that can speak? Words have no power. Please let this shit go. Words have, I am the operant power. And again, look, who said that? Who said that? I am the operant power. Because I am. So, guess what? If you can't speak English, you can't even say I am. So what? It's conditional to people that can only speak English? Guys, come on. You know it's fucking nonsense. But because you know it's nonsense, that's why you're here listening to me. Because you're tired of this fucking bullshit, aren't you? I am. You don't need to say that with your words. You don't need to say that verbally. You don't even need to be English speaking to say that. It's a knowing. I am is who the fuck I am. I am that I am. And can you hear that conviction? There's no doubt in that. I am. Who the fuck can doubt me? I am. Not even my own ego identity, which this isn't going to be about the ego. And even though, see, this is why I wrote everything down, because I don't want to go on little side quests. It will take 3-4 hours, right? But even my current, that's all I say. That's all I'll say. I'll keep it at that. Short and sweet. Even my even my current ego identity can't deny that I am that I am. Because I just fucking am. And there is someone literally listening to me thinking, he's not spiritual at all. He's swearing. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Yeah, if you say so. The soil is unconditional. If you say so. I want tomatoes. If you say so. I want cucumbers. If you say so. I am rich. If you say so. I am broke. If you say so. The soil is unconditional. I am. If you say so. So the framework, right? GROW. It's an acronym. GROW. So the G is ground. Ground the student. Grounding, earthing, right? So natural state. Now, on a material level, grounding and earthing is when we take off our shoes and socks and stand on nature, right? Stand on the grass, be one with nature. We reconnect with Mother Earth, okay? That's on a natural and material level. But internally, we must ground, okay? So, grounding is your natural state. Being grounded. And what I mean by that is grounded, not as in like, oh, don't reach for the stars. I'm saying grounded as in like at a neutral point of peace, in harmony with yourself. Universe means one song, one in song, one in harmony. Universe is not someone, somewhere, up there, out there, or elsewhere. The universe that we are praying to, which is just more nonsense on the internet, is you in reverse. And it just means one in harmony. There is only you, reflecting you. It is you pushed out. That's what Neville says. And that's what it means. Because the mirror must reflect what the cause projects. So, natural state. I am, again. I am that natural state. I am that Prince of Peace. Releasing. So, on a material level, when we stand on grass without our shoes, right, we release negative ions back into the earth, and we absorb positive ions back into the earth, our body, right? But again, that's on an external level. On a material, on a spiritual level, and an internal level. So internal and is spiritual, external is natural, right? So on an internal spiritual level, when we come back to this present point of consciousness, this neutral point, okay, this Prince of Peace, we release negative ions and absorb positive ions. And this is what a torus field is. And that shouldn't have brought that up because now I want to talk about it. So, actually, see here, I drew it. See? Beautiful. This is the center point. I am. This is a condition. This is a condition. It is one scale. There is duality in the non-duality. There is polarity in the non-polarity, right? But the center point, the Prince of Peace, is I am. It is who I am. Peace. I'm not saying thank you for these things right now. I'm just at peace. Do you see why peace is more powerful than gratitude? Because with peace, then I'm allowed to express gratitude because it's like, oh, this is With peace, I don't even need to express gratitude. That's what's more important. Because with peace, I am gratitude. Not that I am grateful. When I am at peace and come back to being the Prince of Peace, I am gratitude. So I don't need to say thank you for anything because I'm at peace. So R is reveal. Reveal the lesson. So you explore the subject, right? You discover and uncover it with discernment. So discovering and uncovering it is preparing the soil. Okay? You're revealing the soil. You're the lesson. You're revealing the seed. The seed may be the lesson. The seed of desire may be your lesson. And you're discovering and uncovering the soil. Okay? You're making room for it. It's like furniture. I can't bring in new furniture into this room until I remove the old furniture. If I didn't, what would I do with the new furniture? Just leave it outside until I get rid of it. So I still need to get rid of it first. I can't bring this new stuff in here until I get rid of this old stuff. Right? It doesn't even make sense. So, reveal, right? Discernment is appropriate or inappropriate. So this is where you reveal, discover, and uncover whether this is appropriate or inappropriate for you. Now, I'm going to share with you a story, okay? I used to put compost into my garden in my previous home. And this was amazing for my soil. It made it made my soil fertile. Everything was growing fucking fantastically, right? In that compost, obviously, there was everything that we were eating, besides meat and bones, and I think that's it. We didn't put meat or bones, okay? But everything else we were eating, including their seeds, very important. In the compost were pumpkin seeds. And me being a new gardener and a new conscious gardener and learning how to consciously garden my own, it's symbolism, right? Symbolism. Learning how to consciously garden my own mind, okay? But symbolism, I'm also doing this out here, okay? I'm learning how to garden out here. I was excited for whatever to pop up and arise, okay? It was like a surprise. I was just happy for everything to grow. I don't care. And I was just letting nature do its thing, okay? Now, I also had an amazing rosemary tree, and I fucking love rosemary, right? I fucking love rosemary. And my tree was huge. It was like maybe bigger. It was huge. It was mad, and it was like 10 years old. Okay, I grew that thing, and to be honest, see there again, my desire of rosemary. I didn't really do anything for it or to it. I didn't need to do anything for it. Okay, but the pumpkin seed grew, and the pumpkins, which I didn't know, so you could say that I'm ignorant, right? The pumpkin seeds grow vines, and because this little garden bed had like a brick wall that was like a retaining wall, it crawled along the brick wall all the way to the fence, and I thought that was amazing. Like it looked gorgeous. I loved it, right? But again, I'm new to this gardening thing. And because I'm at the front of my house a lot and having a smoke or whatever, and I'm enjoying my garden and seeing the fruits of my labor, and all the butterflies and bees are coming, and all these wonderful colored butterflies are coming there, and birds. It was amazing, right? And notice that I didn't have to go anywhere to go and find those birds or attract those bees or attract those butterflies. They were all coming to me because I focused on my garden. And that's all we can do anyway. But the point is, this pumpkin seed, which was now growing into more than a pumpkin seed, it was no longer a seed. Its vine was growing along the bricks. And I noticed a little branch of my rosemary going a little bit grey. I was like, what the fuck? And some of you might be listening to this right now and be like, oh shit, I know what happened. Because you know about pumpkins, right? I didn't know, right? So, I didn't do anything about it. See, again, I didn't do anything about it. So who's there to blame? I can't blame the government. I can't blame my partner. I can't blame my parents. I noticed that a little branch was starting to lose color. And I didn't investigate. I didn't do anything about it. Whose fault is that? It's mine. But that's a wonderful lesson. Okay? Because I let it go. I allowed it to do its thing. I just thought something like, maybe that little branch wasn't, I don't know, whatever reason, I justified it in my own head, okay? About a week or so later, which is way too long, I noticed about a third of that rosemary tree dying. And obviously I quickly went to investigate what the fuck was happening, because this was my rosemary tree and I love this tree and it was huge and it was 10 years old. And what the fuck just happened? Right? The pumpkin grabs onto things. It hooks onto things. It latches onto things so that it can continue crawling, so that it doesn't get blown away. It was strangling the life out of my rosemary tree. Very sad. I lost about half of that rosemary tree. That's all I could salvage. About half of it. And there was no one to blame but myself. Now, a lot of people will demonize the pumpkin seed. Pumpkin seed. For squeezing onto something and holding on and grasping on. That pumpkin seed may be your auntie. That pumpkin seed may be your partner. That pumpkin seed may be your child. But there's nothing wrong with the pumpkin seed. It is not good or bad. It is neutral. It's just a pumpkin being a pumpkin. Pumpkin's gonna pump. I did not plan to say that. Oh. But pumpkin's gonna pump, right? It just is. I like that. Pumpkins are just gonna pump. They just will. It doesn't mean it's good or bad. It doesn't mean it's good or evil. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It just means the pumpkin shouldn't be in this specific garden. It was inappropriate. That's where discernment comes in. Discernment is appropriate or inappropriate. It's not fucking good or evil. It's not good or bad. It's not right or wrong. That's judgment. I don't care what the book says. it says the word judgment, it's not what it means. That's been translated from Hebrew. Hebrew to Greek to Latin to English. Some of the verses in English are beautiful and need no extra explanation. But some of them, because of how we use these words and interpret them, need to be distilled. Because we think they mean something else. And it's not, okay? Discernment is appropriate or inappropriate. The pumpkin seed in that specific garden was inappropriate. So, here's another example. If it's the middle of the day, it's 25 degrees outside, and it's beautiful weather, and I'm going to have a beer. I don't really like beer, but let's say I'm going to have a beer, okay? I may have felt like it was appropriate for me in that situation, in those circumstances, in that circumstance, okay? Middle of the day, beautiful weather, I'm going to have a beer because I felt like it, right? Now, let's take the same beer and move it to 10 o'clock at night. Is it now appropriate or inappropriate for me? I would say at 10 o'clock at night, well, it depends. Is this my first beer? Then it's probably inappropriate. Is it my 14th beer? I'm probably drinking, so it's probably appropriate, right? Now, the beer is still neither good or bad, right or wrong, good or evil. Now let's move that again. The same beer, same neutral item, 10 o'clock at night. Let's change some details. Let's say I'm hanging out with my mates. We're drunk. We're hungry. Is that beer now appropriate or inappropriate for me? 10 o'clock at night. I'm out with the boys. We're all drunk. We're hungry. Fucking oath. A beer, yeah, maybe, yeah, probably. It's appropriate. There's nothing wrong, right or wrong. It didn't change. Nothing changed. Just the circumstances changed. It's either appropriate or inappropriate for you in the moment. Everything. Everything. So, that's where you become the conscious gardener. Now, O is offer. Offer the practice. So, introduce, demonstrate, explain why, and act. Okay, this is the idea. You stay on guard at the gate of mind. You observe the internal dialogue. Does your mental diet serve you or make a servant of you? Discern. Is it appropriate or inappropriate? Okay? Again, like the pumpkin seed. So, tomatoes like being grown with basil. Okay? They love it. And like, it's fascinating how, and I think that's how we came up with the dishes, to be honest. How we eat things together is how they grow in the garden together. And I feel like that's how we came together and brought them in the kitchen. We're like, well, fucking let's try it together because they're growing together and fuck it. So we tasted both of them together and like, oh, this is fucking amazing, tomato and basil. Right? So what's the word? There's complementary, they're like companion plants, right? Where like, for example, one deters pests, which protects the other ones. You know what I mean? So that's where you discern. W, weave. So you weave this practice into life. Okay? So for that's what I'm saying. So how this is all happening internal, right? And you weave it into the external. Like, is this appropriate or inappropriate for me? Is drinking a beer at 7 o'clock in the morning appropriate or inappropriate for me? It's obviously inappropriate for me. For me personally, doesn't mean it's inappropriate for you, that may be your thing. That may be a life goal for you, because that means you don't need to do anything. You're able to drink at 7 o'clock in the morning, which implies that you don't have to go to work. That may have been your desire that you planted in your fertile garden, your fertile mind. Right? So, my private boxing clients, this is hilarious because this whole acronym GROW, I did this unconsciously without even realizing. So I would take my private boxing clients barefoot in the park. And we would do this, right? Unconsciously. I didn't even understand that I was doing this whole GROW framework. Okay. Because and how I was doing it, why I was doing it, because this stuff is innate knowledge. It's innate. We were born with it. Maybe he's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline, right? So, for example, and this is how, coming back to where is it? Oh yeah, it was in W. They're taking the practice into life, right? This is the example is so our sessions, I would relate it to life, and I would even explain that it's not about you being amazing here or you being calm and at peace here. It's about you being able to take that out into the world and practice that out there in the world. So, for example, it's very stressful. Yeah. Your heart's racing, right? Which means very fast heartbeat, which means very short and shallow breath, very similar to the survival breath. Okay? Short and shallow. Short and shallow, right? And my job was to calm it down. Calm it down. Staying calm. Consciously breathing. Being aware, right? Soft focus. So, what I mean by soft focus is being able to see this whole thing, being able to see your entire surroundings rather than a hard focus. For example, on here, looking at specifically the S. Because if I look at the S and I focus on the S, and for example, if I focus on the S on this person's shirt, I don't notice anything else. I'm not able to notice his 7 friends. You know what I mean? That's why you need a soft focus, not a hard focus, which again, in terms of boxing, I tell people, don't worry about looking at my eyes. Like, people on the internet will tell you to look at the eyes, but the eyes lie. That's stupid. The eyes lie especially when it comes to boxing, right? Because I can go like this. Bam. I'm looking over there. That's so stupid, right? So I said, if you're focusing on my eyes, that's a hard focus. So you can't see my shoulders, my hands, and my feet. That's what you need to be able to see. My feet, my shoulders, and my hands. You need to be able to see all 3 of those groups. Okay? Because my feet will tell a story, my shoulders will tell a story, and obviously my hands will tell a story. Right? But more importantly, my feet and my shoulders, they'll tell a story. So you must be able to see all of that. Right? So I would ask them, so where can you look at me where you're able to see my shoulders, my hands, and my feet? Is it around my chest area? Yes. Then focus there. Softly, right? Because if you focus on my chest area, you can see my shoulders, my hands, and my feet. And they'll tell a story. That's where you need to focus on, a soft focus. So why I brought that up is because staying calm needs to translate into life. Consciously breathing, slowing down your heartbeat, when we're going crazy doing boxing and you're able to slow down your heartbeat, means you're taking a step back. You're calm. You're not burning your energy. And this, which means your opponent is burning their energy. And this needs to translate into life. So you get cut off in traffic, heart rate jacks up, right? Fast, short, shallow breath, angry. You want to fight, survival, fight, flight, right? It's a survival. Short and shallow breath, unconsciously breathing. That's a survival breath. So it needs to translate into life. So when that happens, you can come back and focus. I told these boxing clients to focus. And to be honest, I even teach the clients that I have with the personal growth coaching stuff, the one-on-one stuff, to come back home. Home is where the heart is. And yes, home is where the heart is on an external level, material, shallow level, because your pets are there, your parents are there, or your partners are there, your children are there, whatever. But on a deeper, internal, spiritual level, home is where the heart is. Home. It's not a coincidence that it sounds like Om. Om is the Earth's core frequency. Home is who I am. It is the center point. Home. The Earth's core frequency. Literally. And I mentioned it before and I didn't bring it up. I didn't want to continue it. But the torus field, okay? The torus field is, and this just goes around and around. And it's like, it's literally like an apple. It's an apple like this. Bam, bam, bam. And you're at the center. That's what a torus field is. It's an apple. It's you, but that's you. It's an electromagnetic field. And the seed of that apple is your heart. So, yeah, being aware, applying our practice to life, right? So when someone cuts you off in traffic or whatever, even if something didn't happen out there, maybe it's happening in here and you're arguing with your ex, right? Or you're arguing with your boss, your coworker, whatever it is, and your heart's getting jacked up and short and shallow breath, and like now you jumped on the train and there's momentum, okay? There's momentum. You need to come back home to the heart, listen to your heartbeat, focus on your heartbeat, come back to peace, the Prince of Peace in the center, right? So internal gym, so internal, right, can be like inside the gym, and it's also this gym internally inside this gym, okay? Then I wrote eternal. I meant external, right? External outside the gym, and external was also the world, right? So this is how you practice your reactions in here, and this is how you practice your reactions out here. So clients were seeing immediate results. Immediately. Finally being able to hear their heartbeat. Now, if you're like one of those clients that couldn't hear their heartbeat and like, no, I've never even listened. I've never even tried. I don't think I've ever listened to it. I'm like, that's all right, no worries. It's all good. Close your eyes. And if you want to close your eyes with me, do it with me, right? Close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths. 1. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your nose. 2. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the nose. Three. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the nose. Sorry. My nose got a little bit blocked. Now, if you close your eyes, now you can open your eyes. Place your attention on your heartbeat. Can you feel a pulse? Can you feel a pulse somewhere? Maybe it's not in your chest. Maybe it's in your throat. Maybe it's in your hand, your finger. Can you feel a pulse somewhere? That's how simple it is, right? So I did this with the clients, even ones that said they couldn't hear their heartbeat. So they saw the immediate results. Then they started catching themselves returning to their unconscious, short and shallow survival breath as we were training. Yeah. And then they took that out and applied it to life, and they caught themselves doing it out there in life. Now, this improved their external reality, plus their reactions to it. Intention, because my intention was not to make fighters, but to make lovers. That was my intention always, to make lovers of life, to make lovers of themselves, to be honest, to bring them back home. And to be fair, it's actually wild that that's how it played out. Every client of mine that I had with private boxing sessions was like, I was like meeting a previous version of myself. So me loving them and reminding, not showing them. That's what I'm doing here as well. I'm showing you, but I'm not showing you. I'm just reminding you of what you already know, right? So me reminding them, and think about that word, reminding. We're reminding, right? So I reminded them how to love themselves, which just made them become a lover of themselves, which then made them love their lives again. So again, another intention was not to make better fighters, but to make better humans. Tend to your garden. Be the conscious gardener of mind. Stay on guard at the gate of mind and observe all that wants to enter. You must be like a cat and not allow this mouse to enter. Okay? These seeds, or like these arrows that you saw earlier, they may be seeds blown from the winds of the earth. So here, like, I get seeds blown. It's funny how it happens. And I even made a video about it. I get seeds blown from the pine trees and all these other trees that I don't know what they're called. And I don't care to know what they're called because I don't need to label or identify them as anything, right? But I get seeds. Looks like a little angel wing. And there's a seed in there. And they get blown onto my front yard and my backyard all the time. That's what's happening in here too. It could be seeds blown into your fertile mind from the external world, just from the winds of the earth, or from your parents, or from your teachers from school, primary school. Those seeds may still be there, right? Or it may be a mature plant dropped off by a neighbor that expects you to adopt it. the fuck, what am I going to do with that? I don't want that. And that mature plant may be a story that they told you. Maybe they wanted to plant a seed of fear, or gloom and doom, or doubt, or guilt, or shame into your fertile mind. And that's a mature plant. Maybe you accepted it because you didn't want to be rude. So you accepted their regurgitation because you didn't want to be rude and walk away. So you sat there listening to this stupid story, right? And that's okay. But again, that's why you have to become the conscious gardener of mind and just notice, just be aware, just observe everything that's happening. He told me that story, and that made me want to think about that, and that made me want to judge these people, blah, 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 blah. Right? Those seeds would have been planted if that happened. But if you're aware of it, none of them were planted because you stood on guard at the gate of mind. You stood on guard at the gate of mind. Hoorah! And you stand and you stay on guard at the gate of mind because you know this is who the fuck I am. So whether you compliment me, or you judge me, or you insult me, whether you validate me or you invalidate me, it doesn't fucking mean anything. This is who I am. So you stop seeking outside approval because you don't fucking need it, because you just know that I am. I don't need. I don't want. Not I am. Not I might be. Not I should be. Not I could be. Not I will be. Not I might be. Did I already say that one? I just am. So, what seeds will you plant today? I don't know why my nose is getting all stuffy right now, but it's all right. What seeds will you plant today? All right. What seeds have you planted today? What did you harvest today from a past sowing? What weed have you already pulled out of your mental garden or would like to? So the answers to these questions, write them in the comments for me, right? What seeds will you plant today? What seeds have you planted today? What did you harvest today from a past sowing? What weed have you already pulled out of your mental garden or would like to? For example, what pumpkin in that garden? Because in that garden, the pumpkin was a weed. But a plant to one is medicine, to another is weed. Who's the judge? Not you or me. We can only discern what is appropriate or inappropriate for me, for you, in this very moment. That pumpkin in that garden was inappropriate. Those pumpkins need its own space to crawl and do whatever the fuck it wanted, right? So, where do you see new growth in your own mind, in your own life? Where do you see new growth? Going back to that second page of the side view with the little seeds and some new growth and some mature plants, right? Where do you see new growth? Let me know. What have you harvested from this conversation? Have you taken anything away from this conversation? Maybe not. I don't know how you couldn't, but maybe you didn't. That's okay. But if you did, what have you harvested from this comment? What value have you taken? If this was a blueberry tree, if this video was a blueberry tree, Did you take any blueberries? Blueberry bush, whatever it is. All right. So now, here's my gift to you, okay? In the comments and in the description, there's a free ebook, The Fertile Mind, the First Seed. I don't have it here. But this is the first chapter of The Fertile Mind, the First Seed. The Fertile Mind, the First Collection of Seeds. Okay? Do I have that here? No. I'll show you. That ain't it. Got a lot of books there, son. Right. So, in the comments and in the description, you'll find the ebook of The Fertile Mind, the First Seed. So this is the first chapter, okay? And this is the entire collection, the first collection of seeds, right? It's pretty big, right? But I separated each of these chapters, which is what I've been sharing, not the experience twice. But for example, this is the second chapter, What is Love? So it goes, The Fertile Mind, the First Seed, What is Love? Anyway, you can download the ebook of The Fertile Mind, the First Seed for free. Okay. All you got to do is give me your email. Email. And I might send you an email like maybe once every 3 months when I finish a book and let you know, hey guys, there's a book here. But yeah, don't worry, it's just an email. Right? There's also on there my author profile if you want to check out any of these other books, right? Or buy the individual chapters, because I don't necessarily enjoy books like this because it's hard personally, because it's hard for me to read all of it, and like then I end up ruining the spine, you know? And I don't like that. I like to keep my stuff like, even this one is Experience It Twice, is well like 170 pages, right? And the spine is, good, but like anyway, I'm bending the cover and you know, anyway, maybe it's just me. Okay. There's also the one-on-one coaching form if you want that, so we can dive deeper. Okay. But this video and everything that I'm sharing is so that you don't have to do that. You don't even need to do that. Okay. But this is if you want tailored coaching. Okay. So you'll find the form. Now, let's recap. All right. Number one, prepare the soil. You got to be aware of what is there and what you want in there. Okay. Discernment. Is it appropriate or inappropriate for what you want? Okay. The life that you want to experience. Create space so you can experience that. Number two, planting seeds. Conscious awareness. Right. Again, be aware. Discernment. Appropriate or inappropriate. Sounds very similar, right? Selection. Also sounds very similar, because you have to discern whether these seeds, these desires, are appropriate or inappropriate for you. Okay. Selection of desire. Notice I didn't say creation, because you just select, creation is finished. You're just selecting the desire. Okay. Number three, watering with emotion and light, attention. So water, light, sun, right? So watering with emotion and light, which is your attention, which is feeling it real, which is nourishing that desire. 4, harvesting the desire, embodiment of reality. This is who I am. It's as simple as that. I just reminded you how to embody the reality. This is who the fuck I am. I don't need to go and write it down 3 times in the morning, 6 times in the afternoon, and 9 times at night time. 369 manifesting. No, this is who the fuck I am. End of story. Alright, now here's a bonus for you. The soil. Identify one belief to uproot today. The seed. Embody a scene that implies the wish fulfilled. The water. Rest in peace throughout your day, plus feel gratitude for what you have and for what's coming. Okay? But if you're at peace, and if you rest at peace, and if you rest in peace, not rest when there is peace, not rest when you're at peace, rest in peace. When you rest in peace, you are gratitude, which means you are grateful for what you have, and you are grateful for what's coming, because you're at peace. You are the Prince of Peace. Don't ever forget that. Plus relief as you fall. So relief is also a good feeling, right? Just relief comes with peace. So just stick with peace. You can lull yourself to sleep by repeating, thank you. Thank you, Father. Or isn't it wonderful? Something that resonates with you, no more than 3 words. Repeat it over and over as you fall asleep. Thank you. Trust me, it's better than rehashing an argument with your ex. It's better than rehashing some argument with your boss. It's better than thinking about these bills you have to pay. Try it out, right? And I would suggest your waking moments to do the exact same thing. Just catch yourself waking up and you're in this drowsy state, right? Lull yourself into being awake, because you're still like you're unconscious, okay? So you're still like in a suggestible state. So lull yourself the same way with this lullaby, and by saying thank you as you're waking up, right? You don't have to say it physically. Again, you don't have to say it with your mouth. Say it in here. Say it in here. Know it, right? The sun. Invest 5 to 10 minutes 3 times a day, observing your world from your desired state. Giving, couldn't even understand my own letter. Giving light, life to it, right? So observe your world from, again, that goes back to how would you react to your world if you were that person right now? And observing your world also includes, so observing your world from that desired state also includes, how would your world react to you? Okay. Now, bonus number 2. This is what the world does, right? Oops. This is what the world does. So the world does to have, to be, right? So the world does work to have money, to be secure. Now, you have to flip it 180 degrees. And when you take whatever we've been told out there and flip it 180 degrees, you're more than likely going to be faced with the truth. So, for example, God is out there. Flip it, God is in here. Demon is out there. Flip it, demon is in here. The Savior is coming. Flip it, the Savior is here. So, let's flip that to be, do, to have, which is being, doing, and having. Because I am, I do. And that's why I have. So because I am, I do. And that's why I have so we'll do this together. Because I am whole, because I am whole, I do nothing. And that's why I have everything. So I hope you enjoyed this video. All right. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Thank you for your time and attention.